All right, guys. First of all, happy football season being back. Wearing the merch today. I watched a little bit of the preseason, but yeah, just sitting out here. And I apologize for my voice. I don't know what the issue is. I might be a little bit under the weather. I had to take some antibiotics this last week, which I try to avoid like the Black Plague, but my dentist insisted. I'm getting a tooth implant, so yeah, that's neither here nor there. But that's why my voice might sound a little bit weird. I might seem a little bit low energy in this video because, to be quite honest, I am. I don't actually have any videos scheduled out right now after the Dead Island 2 unboxing, so I'm gonna try to make some more here. And if you guys saw my post, I am probably going to not be able to hit the 5 videos a week consistently anymore, just because I don't really have the time to research a lot of these topics right now. And this video could be considered a slop topic, but that's something that I want to kind of avoid a little bit, even though those videos do well. Like, I just made a video last week about Pedro Pascal that did decently compared to my other videos. So, I mean, if that's what you guys want, I can make more stuff like that, but I'm always going to add a more long-term, philosophical lens. And so this video is about the whole Sydney Sweeney controversy. I wanted to make a video about this last week, but I already had the video scheduled. So that's another benefit, I guess, of having these videos no longer scheduled out in advance so far, like I had before I started my job, is that now I can make videos a little bit more timely. But yeah, this Sydney Sweeney thing is very interesting, and it's been blowing up on the internet, particularly among women, and of course, our favorite type of women, the big fat white liberal women, black WNBA women, just women in general. I've made plenty of videos about women. If you're watching this channel, I'm sure you already understand the WQ, the woman question in the modern era. But another thing that this ad showed was, and this video might not be what you guys think, but there was a lot of discussion in the video about, or a lot of discussion around the video about good genes, right? And it's kind of clever, not so clever what it means, right? She has good genetics. And me being a 90s kid, teenager in the 2000s, this is what we used to see all the time, right? Like I've talked in the past, we used to see Jessica Alba, we used to see Jessica Simpson, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera. There were just babes galore. The Victoria's Secret angels. This was a time when, it was just like Sydney Sweeney type overload. So it shows you what they've done to society in the last 10, 15 years, to where just seeing a beautiful girl causes people to just viscerally react. Because like, it used to be that these things were like celebrated. Another thing is like football related, right? Like Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. That was a big thing. They used to make entire reality shows about this. We used to really celebrate the babes, you could say, the blonde bimbos, which are my personal favorite vice, I guess you could say. When it comes to women, I've always been into the blondies. And so, yeah, this Sydney Sweeney thing's not surprising to me, especially when you know that they're trying to put the woke away now. They're trying to backpedal on some things. This is kind of the way government works. If you know the theory of the ratchet, which has been discussed on many channels, but essentially the The ratchet is a leftist ratchet, and it cranks left, and it'll go too far. But what happens is it just stops, and then they kind of throw some distractions at you for a while, and then, you know, give enough time, people start to forget, you know, things get memory hold. So then they just start cranking it again. And another aspect of this is they'll just pivot. And this ties into the Sydney Sweeney thing of how have they pivoted, right? So before Sydney Sweeney, really going back, this is just, again, classic advertisement. They're adding the whole race realism thing into just classic, you know, Britney Spears or like Carl's Jr. hot girls eating burger type advertisements, right? They're trying to get men back on the plantation. This has been a project for several years, right? Academic agents talked about this, right? That one of them, and I didn't really want to believe it, but it's blatantly obvious now. But yeah, one of the big goals of Trump 2.0 is to get white boys to die for Israel again. So, and I'm just going to speak more plainly on this channel now, because I made the video before about how they're coming out with all these censorship laws again in the UK, and I've lost subscribers and whatever. I mean, I'm so tired of this. So I'm just going to say, I don't really care if my YouTube channel gets nuked. You know, I'll just make a new one, start it over, and I'm probably going to start uploading videos to Odyssey and BitChute regularly again, so you guys can check that out. And then I have been looking into this platform called Kick, which I guess you can just go stream on there immediately, so you don't even have to... My goal was I wanted to kind of build a following on here again, and you guys could like follow me over there, but it is what it is. If I have to start over from scratch, you know, I'll do that. It'll give me some time to think again as well. But yeah, until the channel gets banned, I'll just continue making this fine content for you guys. And you know, I'm obviously not going to get too spicy. Like, I'm not going to say, you know, hard R words, but you know, talking about Israel, it's just so stupid what the world has become. Like, just talking about Israel's anti-Semitism, that should tell you all you need to know. So yeah, that's been the entire goal of Trump, unfortunately. He's a massive disappointment at this point. He just released something where you're going to be denied FEMA aid if you say something anti-Semitic. Like, everyone criticizing Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, it's like, this is something they would do. So I really don't see the argument for Trump anymore, other than he's going to buy people some time, you know, like I've made in the past. The true right wing will have at least a little bit of breathing room before the government goes full crackdown mode again. But I'm digressing. I apologize. This is not about what I was going to talk about. So to tie back into what I was saying, they're really trying to get men back on board. And you know, the leftists, they're still retarded on this issue, but you know, they're kind of being shelved. And if Trump was smart, whatever, I mean, he's just as bad in many ways, but if he was smart, he would just not allow them to ever gain power again. He would just pretty much ban far leftists from ever taking office, because their policies are literally insane to the point where you can't function. Now again, Trump, he's just a neocon. We've kind of figured that out. So, you know, we're going to go back to, I guess, George W. era. Again, it is weird being a millennial, you know, almost in my 40s, seeing this, because it does feel a little bit like deja vu. It feels like literally my entire 20s, for the most part, was just a giant nightmare. My mid 20s to mid 30s was just like a giant nightmare. It's kind of depressing to think about, because yeah, all that woke stuff, Gamergate, all this stuff they put us through, right? And again, it's not going away, but they're now giving like credence to the other side again, because they're realizing how demoralized people are, and rightfully so. So yeah, that's what a lot of this represents. But the whole TRANS thing that they were trying, right? The whole LGBTQ, I'm trying to say this. Like I said, I feel like there are some topics that will just completely get me banned. By the way, I love Israel, YouTube. Big supporter. I support Trump's agenda completely, actually, on the Israel thing. So don't you worry too much about me. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is that the good genes thing. And I saw this video where I guess they're doing gene therapy to, I think Japan has done this. Japan has found a way to basically cure autism. Now, you can't do it with people that are already born, but they can like basically remove the trait before someone's born. That's like literally gene editing. That's next level transhumanism. So basically what I think this whole Sydney Sweeney thing actually represents is that they're putting the woke away, but they're not putting the agenda away. The agenda is still going to move forward, and that agenda is transhumanism. And so what you're going to see more and more of now is you are going to see them embrace this. They're tapping into the dissonant right too. So like they're finding a way to, okay, the dissonant right is talking about Jews, they're talking about race, they're talking about these things. Like, how do we contain that? And, you know, this was the theory with Trump 2.0, even going back as far as last year, is like, is Trump 2.0 a genuine, or is he being allowed in office again as some form of MAGA containment, right? And I've discussed MAGA. MAGA is just a cringe Gnostic religion at this point. And so it's easy to take something like that, right? The masses, and, you know, I give MAGA credit on the Epstein thing, but ultimately they will fall in line. You know, like I see them defend like Kristi Noem all the time and ICE, and you know, there's just so many cringe characters. You know, Tulsi Gabbard talking about they're going to arrest Obama. It's like, okay, you know, okay. That's all I'll say on that. But yeah, what's going to happen though is the deep state machine is still going to work. And again, this is so apparent because the whole Israel thing is still at the forefront of every decision being made. And if you guys know your history, that is basically the last, I don't know, 200 years of America. I'm reading this book right now. I've got a book here. It's called, I don't know if you guys can see that. It might be reversed, but it's called Tri-Faith America. And it's essentially about that. I'm trying to learn more about it. It's basically about, you know, Catholics, Judaism, and Protestantism in America, and the history, basically the history of religion in America. And so, as if you guys know anything, if you guys have like read Sam Huntington, you guys know that we started out as a Protestant nation. And we did, you know, we're primarily Anglo. And then we were introduced to foreigners via, you know, Italians, Irish first, then the Jews. And so, yeah, we have Catholicism and Judaism now. And all sorts of other religions. I've said I was raised Mormon. Mormonism is like it's like a Protestant religion, right? This is just how these things work. So we know, though, who consolidated power is what I'm getting at. You know, if you've been paying attention, you know. So that's still the power holders, you could say. You know, people are still going to go over there and they're going to kiss the wall, as Mike Johnson did on his vacation. You know, Trump did it. It just is what it is. And so understanding that, their agenda is still going to push forward, and their agenda is essentially to destroy all individualism. And that this goes into the whole internet censorship thing that I talked about in my previous video. You know, kind of ranted in that one, but that's another part of this. They are trying to contain you again while they still put the pieces in place. Sorry for that. Somebody drove by my house, and there's no way to find peace anymore in this world, you know. This used to be a nice, quiet neighborhood when I was a kid. But, yeah, the agenda is still going to go forward, guys, is basically what I'm getting at. And you need to understand this. It's very key to your sanity, I would say, because if you put all your chips in on Trump, like, oh, he's going to, that's not going to happen. He's not going to cross the Rubicon. He's not going to save anything. He's going to lie to you and tell you you're in a golden age so that you can go out and, slave away and don't think about it too much, which, I'm experiencing that a little bit myself, right? Like, because I'm working full time, I'm fatigued again. I don't have the energy to think about a lot of things. So this is exactly what they want you to do. They want you to just shut up, go to work and pay your taxes. Don't think too much about where your taxes are going. Just work and pay your taxes. And so they're talking about jeans and Sydney Sweeney and Dunkin' Donuts, I think, made an ad with a dude talking about his golden skin. So basically, if you guys like understand like sci-fi and what the sci-fi movie agenda was about, like Blade Runner type movies, is that's the agenda. They want transhumanism. They want you to be able to. That's the next level, right? So I'm trying to talk about this, but like I want to, but basically like the whole trans movement and like the surgeries and all that and the changing of genders, that was phase one. That was like, okay, let's traumatize a decent amount of the population with this, right? Because this is classic dialectic. I mean, I've talked about the dialectic constantly. This is what led me to orthodoxy, because God solves the dialectic. But classic dialectic, it's like, okay, we're going to create a problem called you're trans, right? It's literally like a made-up problem. We're going to tell people that they don't know what gender they are. The moment they have any inkling, it's like, oh, a kid plays with a Barbie doll. It's like a young boy plays with a Barbie doll. Oh, he must be gay. He must be trans. So immediately the solution for that is let's get him on puberty blockers. Let's put him on estrogen, and then down the road we'll tell him to make a meat hole, to put it. I'm laughing, but it is pretty frightening stuff, especially for the future when these poor unfortunates become older. And again, this is part of it. So the next phase 2, I apologize for the noise, it is what it is. The next phase, phase 2, will be, okay, your body has been completely ruined, right? We destroyed you. We're sorry, right? It's the classic South Park meme. We're sorry. We told you to do all these surgeries and ruin your life. Sorry. We're sorry. So what you can do now is we can rebuild you, right? Like if you guys have seen RoboCop, right? We can rebuild you through technology. And that's also where this is going too with the gene thing. I think they're going to literally get to a point where they're like, if you're black, we can change you to white, or vice versa. Like, we can change the race of your skin. That's all. We can change the color of your skin. You saw this with Michael Jackson a bit, but this will be like next level. This is going to be the next Ozempic thing, right? Like, we already see women just completely destroying themselves with Botox and Ozempic. This will be like a third layer to that, even, where now the women will get all that stuff and then they'll just start changing their skin. You see this with Beyonce too. Beyonce always, they've had a meme where she's just gotten lighter and lighter over the years. So this could already be happening with someone like that. Jenna Ortega, a young actress, just in like 5 years, she looks absolutely insane. The women are degrading at a rate that is like almost unfathomable at this point. Like, women basically have like a 4-year shelf life now if they're in entertainment, because the demons and just everything is thrown at them so hard. It's like they cannot overcome this. And this is key to a lot of these things, is that this will prey mostly on women. The reason it affects men mostly is because men can't get women anymore, because we live in a crazy feminist age. So a lot of men just succumb to this ideology. They just go black, completely black pilled, basically, or brainwashed. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. What do I think about the Sydney Sweeney thing? Like I said, I'm all for it, because I at this point with society, I'm at peace with what's going to happen. That's why I'm saying I don't like to cover slop, because I don't really want to get angry all the time. I don't want to just be like reacting. I want to be able to give you guys more of a, long-term, philosophical, conclusion, or I don't know, thought to these things. And so, yeah, like I said, what I mean by I'm all for it is, like, I'm glad that they are focusing on a pro-natalist agenda again. I've shouted him out before, Jason Miranchuk of Miranchuk Now. He, see, this is what I mean, like, that guy waved at me. I have no clue who that guy was. Like, this whole neighborhood is, I swear, like, has doubled in size in the last 2 years. It's really annoying. See, Trump's ICE working so well, guys. He's deporting like he promised. Eye roll. But they're gonna push a pro-natalist message. Like Jason Miranchuk of Miranchuk Now, he was kind of talking about this, and this is just classic Thomas Sowell, really. One of my favorite quotes of all time: "There are no solutions, only compromise." So we might, and again, we don't know if we're gonna get the deportations. Trump just tells us that, but with anything we get that's good, there's gonna be a certain level of compromise. So 2 examples here, like if we get the deportations, right, well, that's going to accelerate the development of the surveillance state, because that's what they're doing right now. They're going to use the whole, we need to deport millions, but the only way we can do that, guys, is we need everyone in a database, right? We need you all to have, state-sanctioned IDs. We need you to verify your age on every website on the internet. We literally need you to be on the list. And this is mark of the beast stuff, biblically. I was talking to one of my friends about this, and he didn't seem to understand what I was trying to say about that, because it's affecting gamers again. This is always funny with these things, but it's always the gamers that react confused. I was guilty of this too when I was young, so I'm not. This is like the Zoomer. This might be like Gamergate 2.0 for the Zoomers, but there's a big controversy going on, and I might make a whole video just about this, so I don't digress too much. But there's a big controversy going on right now with payment processors and gaming. So. But that's just one example, right? So you may get your deportations, or you'll think you're getting your deportations, but the cost will be you're now on a list. Well, the same thing with the Sydney Sweeney thing, right? It's like, we're going to give you hot babes again. We're going to give you women. We're going to push pro-natalism as a message again, right? We're going to stop so much with the gay woke stuff, and we're going to give you hot babes with amazing mommy milkers, and that's probably they're just going back to the 2000s, right? This already was something they did back then, so this is nothing new. But by giving us that, though, they're gonna, the degeneracy of women is gonna continue to increase. That's basically the trade-off. And then at the same time, they're going to offer naive parents things like gene therapy, right? You can cure your kid of all these illnesses. It's like me, if I was born, like this will be the next wave, right? It was trans kids. Now it's going to be, we can cure autistic kids. Because the rates of autism have gone up significantly, because what they're doing now is they're just claiming that everything is autism. So that's something they're like someone like me who has ADD, which I don't even think that's a thing. They could just say I'm autistic now. I've had doctors tell me that, actually, like in the last 3 years, when I go in for I don't go in for anxiety. What I do is I go in for my checkups, and then the doctor always comes in and asks you questions. And I just tell him, and they try to diagnose you, they try to put you on drugs. You're just like, you just have to say no. Be like, no, I'm good. But yeah, that's basically what to look out for. So the society will become more bearable, right? Like I said, I mean, I'm not mad that I have to see Sydney Sweeney all the time. It's much more pleasant to look at than Dylan Mulvaney or whoever these creatures were before, Rachel Levine, Pete Buttigieg, right? Like these, even Kristi Noem, all these people, Carolyn Levitt, I think is her name. All of these Trump MAGA people are ultimately clownish, but like I said, it's more pleasant to look at. That's what they're doing. They're kind of admitting their fault, and they're not admitting their fault. They're just saying, yeah, this was a little too much with the tranny stuff and the gay stuff. So we're gonna throw you a bone in the form of, you can have Sydney Sweeney now. We'll give you that again, but we're still gonna push transhumanism. We're still gonna increase the debt, right? We're not gonna give you anything that would actually fix the country, right? We're going to pretend like we're deporting, which, again, even if they deported what they said in the big beautiful bill, which I think was something like 1 million a year, Biden let in over 20 million, like low estimate, in 5 years. So you're going to deport 4 million in 4 years. I mean, it's not going to cut it. So all these things, Trump is just he's a disappointment, but also, this was very predictable. I mean, Trump is just one man. He's a boomer. He doesn't understand the issues, right? And so it's going to have to come after his time, basically. So anyway, that's the video, guys. I feel like I covered it enough. Just be aware of these new machinations that you're going to see, right? Because it's all propaganda. It's all marketing. They are selling you a product, and it is manufactured consent. They just get you on board. This is why I still follow some of the mainstream MAGA slop accounts on Facebook, because I like to see what the MAGA voter thinks, right? Like when Trump does things, they'll be like, based. Trump just went after the payment processors, based. Things like that. I like to still follow it so I can see into the mind of the average voter. And then on the left, I like to see what they say, because their big thing is Palestine now, and they're now noticing Zionism as well, but in just a much more cringe way. And then of course the dialectic, right? Trump is going to use that to crack down, right, in the name of anti-Semitism. So you just got to be aware of all these things. It's kind of the video. I'm still going to title this the Sid, because this is, but my videos, they're branching out into many different topics. So Sydney Sweeney, enjoy it, guys. And if you're men out there, you're single, even if you're married, right? Like, you can enjoy a beautiful woman without being a complete degenerate. And that is the society we live in as far as women goes. It's just going to be degeneracy down, because they wear yoga pants now, guys. Like, even if you are trying to avoid it, you just go anywhere now and you're seeing women's butts. It's just impossible. That's the society we live in. This is what we have. This is what we are dealing with. And so, yeah, like I said, enjoy the beautiful women that they're going to start throwing on TV again. And just understand, put it into perspective, right? Put it into perspective. Realize what's going on. As the late Gonzalo Lira, Coach Red Pill, always used to say, understand what is going on. It's another one of my favorite quotes. God rest his soul. He was one of the good ones, in my opinion. And yeah, that's basically the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you're new to the channel, if you got all the way to the end here. Appreciate all the support. Comment down below. Talk to you on the next one.